So, loved ones, worry and anxiety paralyze you. And that's why God says, rejoice. I want you to be happy. Now, if you say to me, well, I wouldn't say I'm unhappy, I wouldn't say I'm happy, I'm just kind of somewhere in the middle somewhere, I'm usually kind of pretty neutral, in fact, you might say almost half dead, and that's just the way I go along. Loved ones, rejoicing is a positive thing. Rejoicing is rejoicing. Rejoicing is thinking of the wonderful breakers on the Hawaiian beaches and thinking, that's my God. The freshness in those waves is stale compared with the freshness in his heart. He is fresh compared with those things. And you think of those beautiful ski slopes, and you think of going down those ski slopes and the openness and the exhilaration, and you say to yourself, my God is far more exhilarating than those slopes. Those are just the things he's made, but he himself, you should see him. And you rejoice in the great God and the dear Father who has made even the beautiful things that we see around us in our world. But that's what the Father wants us to do. He does not want a lot of fretting, old, anxious-ridden people. He wants children who trust him. You dads and mums, you know it. You know it. You would be just devastated if your children trusted you as little as many of us trust our dear Father. If your children fretted and worried, or did fret and worry, as much as you and I fret and worry, you know you would be devastated by it. And then, after it's all said and done, and after I go by your tombstone, because I'm going for 95 or 96, after I go by your tombstone and look at the name there, and look back on your life, suddenly it comes to me, as it comes to you, was it worth it? It wasn't worth it. Not at all. The thing turned out right anyway. Despite my worry or my anxiety, the thing turned out okay. And I didn't achieve anything by what I did. Loved ones, that's it. There's a dear verse in Ecclesiastes, and some scholars would say, it's a little bit Greek in its philosophy, but it really is just a blessing. It's, I think 575 is the page. Otherwise, I can never find Ecclesiastes. But it's page 575. And it's Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 12. Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 12. I know that there is nothing better for them, for man, than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they live. Also that it is God's good gift to man. It is God's gift to man that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. And that's it. The Lord has put us here to rejoice in him and to be happy, and not to be sad, and not to be burdened with anxiety. And why I share this with you is, the society lives without God, and it will become increasingly ridden with anxiety. It will become increasingly oppressed with worry and anxiety. And so it's very important that you and I, who know our God and who know our Father, become increasingly preoccupied with rejoicing. And it's vital that you do not live in the oppression and the heaviness of our society. And so you read as much of Time magazine as you can bear to read without losing your joy. That's about it. And you read as much of the New York Times as you can bear to read without losing your rejoicing. But you do not live in the midst of the oppression of our present society. God's will is for us to rejoice, and to rejoice always.